right, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode. And if you like what we're doing over here, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. It sure helps out the channel grow. And with that being said, today our special guests, we have Yesenia and Nick. They're a local realtor, and our realtors are over here in Southeast Texas. So if you guys want to get in contact with them, I have their information in the box. All right, guys. With that being said, hi, Yesenia and Nick. How you guys doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having us today.
Thank you for accepting the invite and coming along. For sure. Yeah. So when I do this podcast, I like to let the people know who are you guys, or who is the guest. You know what I mean? Because they want to do business with you or get your service. They want to know who you are. So
yeah.
Who is Yesenia and Nick?
Well, I'm Nick Mendoza. I'm a realtor here in Southeast Texas, part of the TJ Castellon real estate team. We service all throughout the Southeast Texas area. I've been in the real estate industry for about 2 years now. And before that, I was actually in the car business for about five and a half years. I was actually working here at Philpott Toyota in Mid-County. So I spent a pretty good amount of time out there.
Yeah, I like usually Toyotas and Hondas. That's why I like
yeah, they're great cars.
Yeah,
Can't complain.
Yeah.
The reliability is
there. I mean, I want to say the American cars, they've been up and making sure their quality has been good. So that's good on them.
Yeah, they got some good looking cars out there. But yeah, I've always been a real big Toyota fan. Especially so I drive a Toyota Tundra right now, and I mean I love the truck.
Just like mine.
Yeah. I like the newer model too. I have the third gen, and I mean very solid truck. It's been good to me, but. Yeah, the new Tundra is really, really nice. I like that body style.
Yeah, it's nice. It's very comfortable as well, too, right in there.
Yeah, I like them for sure.
Okay. Before we get sidetracked too much about talking about cars, how about Yesenia? How about you?
Well, hi, I'm Yesenia Ochoa. I'm also part of the TJ Castellon real estate team. And over these past few months, I've been shadowing Nick and just happy to learn.
Okay, that's good.
Him.
Yeah.
That's good.
So I'll call it. So why did you guys decide to get into real estate?
I decided to get into real estate because, first of all, I just love helping people. It's one of my biggest passions to be able to help others. And also because of the Hispanic Business Association. I'm now on the board, but before that, I was always at their meetings, at their events, and because of my mom, Raquel, and my aunt, Erica. And I was also be able to help them behind the scenes and really see firsthand how they were able to get the proper tools and bring the right people together to be able to help the Hispanic community. And I learned about the TJ Castellon team through HBA, and I would hear how Tanya would mention that a lot of Hispanics weren't getting the proper representation or didn't know exactly what they were signing or didn't really understand what they were signing.
Yeah, especially if they only know Spanish. I'm guessing you're bilingual,
Yes.
Okay.
And her team really wanted to bring more bilingual agents to be able to change that and to be able to represent the Hispanic community. And that's really one of the main reasons why I wanted to pursue this career.
Yeah. Because I didn't, like I said, I didn't know Raquel was your mom, so I was kind of surprised there when my friend Sandy had told me. So that was kind of cool because everybody knows that they were on a couple episodes. I think it was episode 25. So if you guys missed that, go check that out. How about you, Nick?
Real estate was always interesting to me growing up. I didn't really come from a background of real estate, but sales was always a big thing for me. When I graduated high school, I knew I wanted to go to college to be in business and administration or get a degree in that field. And, I didn't have any scholarships or anything. So my thinking at the time was, hey, look, I'm going to get in the car business. Let me back up a little bit. So when I was in high school, I was already trying to plan ahead to think of what I wanted to do. And, I know I wanted to pursue a sales career, but I also wanted to go to school to get a degree in business and administration. And real estate would always come up, but I thought you would have to go to school to get that degree or to become a licensed agent. I didn't really know that you can, at the time, I didn't know that you can actually go get your courses online and then become a licensed agent. I didn't really know anyone so I can talk to as far as how to become a licensed realtor. So, I'm 18 years old, I'm in high school, and I was actually washing cars for Silsby Toyota at the time. Mm-hmm. Well, at that time, I started getting really cool with all the salespeople there, and whenever it was coming up to my graduation, I knew that I didn't want to wash cars forever. I actually wanted to get into that sales position. So I ended up having a conversation with our general manager, Alex Donaldson, at the time, and it was just a really good conversation. He saw some potential in me, and he let me join the sales team at the time. So I ended up working at Salisbury Toyota for a few months, and right there I started getting my experience on how to go out, how to talk to people, know a little bit about sales, how the financing worked. And from there, I ended up moving over to Philpott Toyota because I had an uncle that was working there, and me and him ended up working really good with each other. And then I just started learning more and more. Well, at the time, for my age, I just felt like I was making so much money to where I thought I was going to retire in the car business. And I kind of, got away from the real estate industry. Well, COVID comes around, 2020 came around, and we were working long hours. We were working from 9 to 7 every day. And then I started thinking like, hey, I really need to go back and do real estate like I planned originally. So then from there, I ended up studying to get my license, became licensed in December of 2022. And from there, it's just been really good. I was glad that I ended up making that switch. It's been better for me. I feel like it's just been a better fit than the car business. But, a lot like you said, I do love that I am bilingual, and I can also represent the people in the Hispanic community who need that proper representation to help them, whether they're wanting to buy or sell, to be able to explain them everything from the beginning all the way to the end of the process. And that's really how that's kind of my story of how I got in it, and a little bit of why I got into the real estate industry as well.
Well, that's cool info, But I'm guessing being in sales, you have to learn how to be able to talk to every type of individuals out there.
Yeah. I tell a lot of people, especially, when they're thinking about getting into a sales position, is you really have to be a chameleon. You got to be able to adapt to any personality out there, because everyone's different. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it is sales, and you have to be able to adapt to someone else's personality, especially if you're trying to help them,
Even by just how they're dressed, right? Because if they're dressed like in a suit and stuff, you don't want to go up there kind of like casually just throw it out there. You kind of want to be more professional.
Yeah.
And then if it's somebody who's more casual dressed, you don't want to go too proper.
Yeah. Of course you want to be authentic and genuine, and go out there and help them the best of your ability. I always say be yourself, but also, be able to help others and kind of fill them out, the type of personality. You have some people who are a little bit more serious, and, you have to take things a little bit more serious and, make sure they're getting their information the way they need. And then you have some more people that are laid back, who are chill, who, do want to have fun within the process, that you can kind of do that as well. So, there's all types of personalities. But again, of course, be yourself, be genuine. But also go out and be a chameleon and help those people as well.
Yeah.
Treat them how they want to be treated, and be able to adapt to their personality.
Yeah.
So,
have you been able to kind of somewhat start and adapt to your customers?
I like to say so. Yeah, I feel like I don't know.
You think so? It's gonna take some time, you know what I mean? You're still young, you know what I mean? You're gonna learn. It's gonna take a while.
I've been able to have great conversations with the people that have reached out to me.
Yeah, I know that the longer you're in the business, the more confident you're gonna be out there, because just starting off, you don't have that much confidence. But within a year or two, I think you're going to do great.
Yeah. Yesenia definitely has some good potential, and I think she'll do extremely well, because she's doing it right now. She's getting out in front of people. She's talking to them. She's communicating really well. It's just getting a little bit more comfortable with the process itself, and once she does, I think she'll do good. She has a really good personality.
Yeah.
So.
And okay, so how about some of the things that the home buyers need to know when they want to go buy a house? Like interest rates, taxes, that type of information?
So one of the things I like to do with a buyer is really talk to them a little bit about their situation. Mm-hmm. Talk to them a little bit about their finances. What is it that they're looking for? We'll ask a lot of questions, but what I typically like to do is bring them into the office to do, whether they're wanting to buy or sell, a presentation, because if you're a buyer and you're a first-time buyer, you really may not know the process and don't even know where to start. Well, one of the first starting points, or, where to start at is, by getting pre-qualified. Unless you're wanting to pay cash, you can also provide those proof of funds, and then we can go out and look at, whatever price point you're trying to spend. But really, it's getting them into the office, talking a little bit about them and what is it that they're trying to accomplish, and then just doing that buyer's presentation from the beginning to the end, letting them know how to get pre-approved. We can recommend them to lenders. At the end of the day, they can go with whoever they would like to go with, whether they have someone in mind that they want to use as far as lending. But us as an agent, I like to consider ourselves a resource, because you want to have all these business partners in place. You have different lenders, different title companies, different inspectors.
Yeah. Loan officer, right?
Yeah, different loan officers, things like that. So you want to be able to fill them out and their position, and not necessarily pair them, but just give them their options of who you recommend. And at the end of the day, just give them that option. Let them know that they're more than welcome to go with whoever they would like. But I think one of the most important things is, especially if you're a first-time buyer, is just getting an agent who is going to be able to explain the process from start to finish to where you understand it well, and that can be a resource to you.
Okay. So I guess the interest rate would be play a big part. Well, not just that, but also your credit score, because I guess what is considered good credit score?
It all depends on lending. Every loan officer, they all have different criterias. I always say at least a 580 or better, depending on, how much money you have saved, work history, and things like that. But, it really just depends, because everybody's situation is different. But I'd say as long as you have a 580 and higher with at least 2 years of work history and a pretty good amount of funds saved in your account, then there may be some type of way or some type of assistance that they can
I'm
get
really
you
surprised it was
qualified.
580. I thought it was kind of low. I thought it would be at least 650.
Yeah, 650 is actually pretty good. It's like right there in the middle, so you can get you can still get pretty you can still qualify at a 650. And like I said, it just all depends from different situations. Everyone's situation is different. You could probably have a 650 credit score and have no job and you won't qualify, but you might have someone that's a 580 and they have good employment. They've been at their same employer for about 2 years. They have a good amount of funds in their accounts so where they can afford a property, and they may get a pre-qualification letter to go out and start looking at properties over the person that's a 650. You see what I'm saying? So there are different I guess what's that word that I'm looking for? I guess there is different situations. But yeah, I'd say, at least 580 and up, you should be able to do something as long as your work history is there, and then the funds too.
Because I know banks love me, because when I go to check my 800.
So you qualify.
Oh yeah,
quick.
pretty much what you want, everything that you want. But also interest, would that affect your interest rate, your credit score?
Depending, that's more on the lending side. The lender will be able to have that conversation with the buyer and just let them know, what they qualify and what they can do, because there's also different down payment assistance programs and things that may affect their interest rate that the lender can help them with. But again, that really falls back on the lending side of things. When it comes to interest rates and stuff like that, we can talk about what's the standard rate, where interest rates are at. I'll say that here and there. I want to say right now they're 6.25%, 6.5%, but that doesn't mean that's going to be your rate. When
But
you go buy a house.
you could buy points, right? How's that work? I know you could buy points where you could lower your rate, right?
Yeah, you can buy down your rate. You can try to negotiate some concessions from the seller, and there's all different types of ways you can structure it. But yeah, you can buy down your rate if you're worried about a lower interest rate. And it's always about looking at the deal and seeing what is what the buyer's trying to accomplish. Whether there's a payment, whether there's a certain amount of money that they have, whether it comes to closing, whatever it is, we look at it all ways. That's why you want to work extremely well with that lender that you paired them up with. And then, the way I like to do it is I always like to have a conversation or be in a group chat with the lender, the buyer, and then myself, so we're all on the same page and just working in the best interest of that client to accomplish what they're needing. But yeah, there is a way that you can buy down that interest rate just to lower, the rate if they're really rate conscious.
Yeah. So also, I guess some people need to worry about taxes, which some people don't realize that it's the cost of your house that affects your taxes, right?
Yeah. So the city, you have an assessed value of what they're taxing you depending on the area. You have a tax rate. Of course, it's going to affect your taxes. And one of the things you can do if it's going to be your primary residence, you can file a homestead exemption,
Oh, yeah,
and that'll
right.
give you a tax break. And there's always there's different types of exemptions, you know, depending on the criteria. But there are exemptions out there
Yeah.
where you can file, you know, a tax credit.
Also, a school district, right? It depends what school district you.
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
located
yeah,
in.
yeah. I mean, school district area. I mean, a lot of it. There's a lot of different factors when it comes to different tax rates and taxes on a property. You know, the tax assessor will take all those things into account whenever it comes down to, you know, I guess taxing a property. But yeah, there are different tax credits out there that you can apply to a property to lower those taxes
Yeah.
and get those tax credits.
Funny story that my other house that I have renting and stuff like that,
Uh-huh.
I didn't realize because their paperwork got all wet, so I
Uh-huh.
couldn't read it, right? Well, apparently the tax rate for the taxes for that house, they appraised it at, was like 180. I was like, there's no way. So I had to kind of send them pictures and let them know, hey, there's no way this house is worth 180. I told
Yeah.
them probably 130, 140, something around that range, and they
Yeah.
went ahead and bumped it down.
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely ways you can appeal it too, and sometimes even agents will provide what's called a CMA, and then they'll show, you know, why they think they're, you know, when it comes to value, everyone has a different. It's really an opinion of value is what I like to say. You know, everyone has a different value. You know,
Yeah.
someone could say this house is worth this much. You know, everyone just has different opinions of values, but you can have a realtor prepare what's called a CMA. And then whenever it comes to that time of the year when it is time to try to dispute those tax amounts, you can send that to the city and just let them know, like, hey, this is why I think my house is worth this. If your taxes, if you're getting taxed on a higher amount than what you think that house is worth, to bring those taxes down.
Yeah.
So,
Do you think it's worth getting an inspection done to the house before you buy it?
yes. I mean, they're not required. Did you want to speak on that, or you good?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
But I agree.
Yeah,
agree too.
they're not required, but they're highly recommended. You know, we can go off of the seller's disclosure and just look what the sellers know about the property, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, there's nothing else wrong with it. So I typically recommend a general home inspection and a termite inspection. And again, we'll send a few inspectors that, you know, we use and we recommend, but at the end of the day, you can use whoever you would like. You know, if you know a different inspector out there, you know, then, you know, you're more than welcome to use whoever. But yes, the inspection is highly recommended when you're going and buying a property.
Yeah, because I have another story. I got a lot of stories.
Yeah.
So I call it when I bought this house. I didn't like. I looked at it pretty well. You know what I mean? I know it kind of this area got flooded, so I know it's gonna be like newly kind of built or whatever.
Yeah.
So I wasn't thinking too much of it, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, come to find out, the master bathroom, knows the toilet will sometimes gurgle when it rained a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So after all, long story short, pretty come to find out that pipe had collapsed like
Oh,
a
wow.
long time ago, and so eventually had to get that fixed, and it cost me like $5,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that may have been kind of hard for an inspector to call that out. But, you know, when you do your inspections, if they do see something, like if they say, hey, you know what, I've noticed this issue with the house, then they'll recommend a licensed plumber to come out, you know. So they'll catch some things if they really don't know exactly what's going on, and they'll tell you someone that's licensed in that field to come out and do a further inspection. And what we typically tell our clients, you know, is you want to look at your 5 main things, which is your roof, your foundation, your AC, your electrical, and your plumbing. If those 5 things are pretty good and they don't really call out much, then you're buying overall a pretty solid house, and everything else is really just cosmetics. And there's always, you know, ways to negotiate repairs and things like that. It's just like another point of negotiation in a deal.
Mm-hmm. So I guess when you guys somebody tries to sell the house too, curb appeal, is that really important? You think?
Did you want to say something again? Yes and no. You know, the reason why it just depends on the property itself, you know, where you have it listed at. Well, I say yes, and the reason why is, you know, we work with a lot of buyers, and sometimes when I talk to my sellers, I tell them, like, hey, look, I'm not really trying to critique your house, you know, but after working with a lot of buyers, like, they are pretty picky, and the cleaner the inspection report, the cleaner the curb appeal, the less it's going to come when it comes to negotiations. So I typically tell them, like, yeah, I would say curb appeal is pretty important.
Yeah, I agree too. You know, because you don't go to a house that's all kind of rundowns. Like, I'll let you get the price down, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Then you can work with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it's priced really low and the curb appeal isn't the greatest, but it'll sell at that price and it'll justify the curb appeal, then yeah, you know. But if you're asking top dollar for your house, then yeah, curb appeal definitely matters if you're asking all the money for it.
Mm-hmm. How about closing costs? Like, how was that? Is that like a specific percentage of the house?
Not necessarily. You know, it ranges on, you know, every property because you have all types of fees, like your title fees, your lending fees, commissions, depending on what side you're working, or even on both sides, you know, depending on the agent, you can, you know, there was a settlement, and I don't want to get too, like deep into this,
Yeah.
but you know, how it used to be, the norm was the sellers would pay your commission. They'd pay both sides, and typically the norm, you know, me as a seller's agent, you know, I like to work for 6%. And the reason why I do 6% is because I give 3% to the seller's agent and 3% to the buyer's agent. We typically split it right down the middle. Well, now, you know, as a seller, you're no longer obligated to pay for the buyer's compensation. And you never really were, but that's just how things were done. Well, now, you know, depending on the closing costs, whether you're working the seller side or the buyer side, you know, you can pay an extra commission fee depending on what you talk with that buyer or seller if you negotiate anything extra. So the closing cost does vary. But again, you have like your lending fees, your title fees, your survey, your appraisal. There's just different fees that'll fluctuate the closing cost amount.
Yeah. So how do you guys, the realtors, get paid? Is it, you guys get paid by salary or just strictly on sales?
It's just all on sales.
Sales on sales. Yeah. So you guys could be dry for like a few months and then
not sell. Yeah. yeah. It can be tough, but I think the biggest thing is just really staying consistent, you know, getting out and talking to as many clients as possible, doing your marketing, trying to be consistent with sales. You know, it does get hard because if you do not sell, you don't get paid. But there's, you know, you're just going to get paid when it comes to selling.
Well, talking about marketing, I had my my guest, the previous one, episode 26. All right, shout out to Tracy. If you guys need marketing tips, you can hit her up. But I call it, she was great. She was very knowledgeable on how to market yourself.
Yeah. No, I see Tracy around a lot. You know, I think we spoke on a few occasions, but yeah, I definitely see her do her thing with marketing. So yeah, shout out to Tracy. Mm-hmm. But as far as marketing, you know, there's so many different ways you can market. You know, you can go out and do events, whether it's for community events or networking events, you know, putting flyers throughout the city as long as they let you. I mean, I know that's kind of funny to say, but sometimes I just say, you know what, I'm going to put somewhere in, you know, I can't even say that. No, but as far as marketing goes, yeah, there's so many different things that you can do. You know, like I said, you can do community events. You can hang up flyers, banners. You know, marketing on Facebook and social media platforms. You know, I think that's really a big thing. Doing videos, you know, something like this, podcasts are also really good, and really just getting strategic of what you're trying to accomplish. You know, if there's a certain clientele that you're trying to reach, figure out what it is that those people are really looking for and trying to do. So there's so many different ways when it comes to marketing, but it's all just getting a game plan together and really just staying consistent. But did you want to add anything as far as marketing goes?
Are you still learning as well too, the marketing?
Well, marketing wise, I think I do a good. Well, I market for 3 different companies, so yeah, but mainly just being active on your social medias and just really staying active, making sure people recognize your logo and make sure that like they see your stuff every day.
Yeah,
it's really good to stay in their mind.
I know what Tracy said. Big help. It's like make sure you're out there helping out the community and stuff like that. Just put yourself out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, people love to see when you're helping.
Yeah, and I think that's why I kind of started this podcast too. You know, just kind of to create a platform so we could have individuals or like business or even people who are like a master in the trades or whatever. They want to come out here and kind of explain what they do and see if people who might be interested in that trade, if they want to get in that trade.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's why I'm trying to create this.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
that's good.
Any tips for the first-time home buyer? I guess get you guys.
Yeah, you know, for a first-time buyer, if you're really thinking about going out and buying a property, I would say really just take care of your credit, your job history, and then just make sure that you have some funds in the account. I wouldn't really go out and make a really big purchase and put it on your credit, especially if you're thinking about buying. I wouldn't go out spending a lot of money either, and then really just switching job to job. You can do that. We see that a lot, especially in our area. You have a lot of guys that are working turnarounds, and that's fine as long as they're not taking like really big gaps, because those are some things that can affect you whenever you're going and buying a property. But I would say, 3 tips is, take care of your credit, take care of your work history, and take care of the money that you have saved. So just a few little tips there.
Yeah. Oh, I just want to touch back a little bit about you could get a FHA loan where you could just put like 3% down right for the house, or if not, you can't get that. You could have to put down 20%, right?
The for a while the conception was that you had to have at least 20% down. FHA, there is a program where you can put 3.5% down of the sales price, and then you cover your closing costs on top of that. When you are getting an FHA loan, you can ask for up to 6% in closing cost assistance or seller's concessions whenever you're trying to negotiate a deal. But yeah, FHA is a really good gig to where if you are a first-time buyer, you can put up to about 3.5% down of the sales price, or 3.5% of the sales price is required. Conventional loans, I know you mentioned about the 20%. There are some conventional loans out there where you'll have to put up to 20% down, but you can waive things like insurance and things like that, out of your payment too. So there's also some benefits to putting a little bit more money down.
Yeah, and because I think if you put down lower than 20%, you have to put the charges of insurance or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, typically you're gonna have that all escrowed into your payment as far as your taxes and your insurance goes. But there's some loans where you can pay those outright every year, and depending on what you qualify for, there's different ways that you can structure it.
Yeah. So it's if the house is worth $300,000, and then people say get this house for $2,000, but you got to think about it. You got to include taxes and insurance, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, you have to have taxes and insurance. The things that'll say, and that's the thing. Your payment. People will try to find out like why are their payments changing every year. Some go higher or some get lower, and your principal and your interest are going to stay the same throughout the loan. The only things that are going to change are your taxes and insurance every year. Your insurance can go up or it can go down, and then same thing with the insurance. Did I say insurance twice?
Yeah. Well, nowadays it's like everything's going up.
Right.
Man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any last words for the viewers?
No, I mean, just subscribe to the podcast. I mean, it was a great experience, just to be able to be here with you and talk a little bit about the real estate industry. If y'all have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or Yesenia, whether you want to buy or sell, even rent, whatever it is. Feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to help you.
Yeah.
And
right.
we are bilingual, so.
Okay, that helps out, right? All right, guys. If you guys do like what we're doing over here, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. All right. Peace out.
Peace. Sounds good.